Hello world, welcome back to the Razor RC, and I got a chance to run my Hobao Hyper VS2 nitro buggy at my local racetrack. So 1/8 scale outdoor racetrack. Ran a bunch of laps, about 4 or 5 tanks through this buggy, and just want to share some thoughts. I have been basically trying to retune it a little bit, get to drive a little bit better. I think out of the box setup does need some work, more of a basher setup. So the main thing I've been testing is actually different shock packages. So I'm currently running Techno Yellow Springs up front and Techno Yellow Springs here in the rear. I did also try Orange Springs up front, and yeah, big improvement. The stock springs are way too stiff for like at least an American style outdoor racetrack. I would characterize this track as medium bumps, you know, not super bumpy, not super smooth. Medium traction as well, depending on the level of watering. Typically, you know, people run like J Concepts Reflex tires or Whole Shot 2.0s from Proline, so that kind of gives you an idea of the traction level. I also tested out Stalker tires as well, so definitely recommend going softer on the springs. Hobao does make softer springs, I think, not 100% sure, but Techno springs also fit reasonably well. They're a little tight on the collars here, or the shock cuffs, but they work totally fine. So I would recommend that. Try yellow. I think that'll work pretty well. I do also think that the shock weight oil needs to be reduced as well. I don't know what the stock weight is, but I would go down probably 5 weight or so. I just left it stock, but it was definitely pretty bumpy. It was over damped as well. Definitely was not absorbing the shocks, you know, the bumps and stuff quite as well as it should. It's kind of being knocked around a bit, just too slow on the shocks. Other thing I was messing around with was the wing angle. This wing actually does not stay in place pretty well, so I tend to run it kind of flat, but it would get smashed up and it can move on its own, you know, depending on how you're crashing and things like that. So that is something, you know, I don't know if there's a fix for that, but yeah, the wing does tend to move around on its own depending on how you crash. Also am running a slightly thinner sway bar, so 1 step down from the stock sway bar. I think that gives you a little bit better roll, a little bit better rear traction on the side bite, so I think that's an improvement as well. So overall, yeah, the buggy is getting there. I mean, it is not a race legal engine, so this is a 0.28. It really should be a 0.21, I believe. Also, the fuel tank, I think, is 150 cc's rather than 125. Is that correct? I'm not sure. Actually, it's supposed to be 150. I don't know what it is. It's a little bit bigger than that, I believe. So anyways, yeah, I think there's still some work to be done, but it's getting much closer. Overall, I also did swap out the servos. That does make a big difference. Throttle, not quite as much. I certainly didn't have the best tune on the engine, but yeah, the stock servo I think is fast enough for the throttle. If you don't want to spend the money, you don't need to, but the steering servo definitely makes a difference, and you also want to tighten down that servo saver up front. Definitely a little bit easier, quicker, more responsive to drive, of course. So anyways, I just wanted to talk about that real quick, as well as share some running footage.
It's all right, Joe, I'm gonna pull it.
another.